Hey, Gospel Guitarist here, and today we're going to talk about installing a solid bell brass block into your standard Stratocaster bridge. So instead of having you watch every single thing I do here, I'm only going to do highlights. Keeps it simple. First thing, of course, we got to do is get the old block out of there, and we need to loosen the strings, flip it over, and remove the block along the way here. As you can see, everything else has already been upgraded with bell brass claw and silent springs. So let's get started. Okay, now that the screws are off, or the strings are off, I'm going to take my trusty ruler and I'm going to measure from the back of the bridge piece here where the screws mount for your saddles, and I'm going to take measurements for each saddle because these all have to be removed in order to put the block on, and I want the intonation to be the same. I don't have to go through just, setting them up basic and then redo the intonation, and I already know where they should be. So I'm going to write down each string, measuring each string, and take note of where these saddles need to be. And then I will remove the saddles. Okay, now with the saddles removed, I have clear access to the 3 screws that hold the block on the guitar. So I just need to loosen these. You don't have to remove the whole trim, as you can see. We just need to get these 3 screws out so we can put on the new block. Now, flipping the guitar over, we have our springs installed. We're going to want to disengage these springs to free up the block so that when we take the screws out, the block will just fall on the table. Then we can flip it over and remove the old block and put in a new one. Okay, here you can see the old block. It's just a pot metal, not exactly your best material. Put the screws back in it for safekeeping in case I do want to put it back in and use the trem on some other homemade guitar or something later or whatever. And now it's time to put the nice bell brass one in. This is a good opportunity to shine up your bridge plate if you choose to. Get all your dirt and grime off of there and get it all nice and pretty before installing your new block. Okay, before you do this, you want to make sure that your holes are going to match up. Make sure they sent you the right block if you didn't do that by now. You can also do it just with the old one installed. But you want to look at it just visually, make sure all your holes are lining up. And this is a Mexican Strat, so I needed a Mexican block. Now, some of the Mexican Strats, I guess some of the versions need a USA block, so you might want to double check the specs on your guitars before you do it. Mine looks good, so I'm just going to have to hold this inside the back of the cavity, and I can see the holes, and then I can just insert my screws and get them started. And you also need a hex wrench for the FU bridges. The blocks come with a hex type screws here, if I can keep my hands on it. And then just tighten it up and reassemble your bridge. Okay, once you get the bridge block screwed to the tremolo plate, go ahead and reinstall your springs. Flip her over and start to reassemble your saddles according to the measurements you took earlier when you took it apart. Okay, that's it. Keeps the original bridge in appearance intact. Now when you flip it over, it's got a bunch of brass on the backside that's going to ring like a bell, giving the guitar much better tone and much better sustain, more defined notes. It really does make a big improvement. I've done this to a Strat I used to have a couple years ago, and it is well worth the money to upgrade your block. So that's it for this video on upgrading your block with an FU tone bell brass block. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more tips. I think I might go and do a custom wiring job on this and give me a couple more pickup options, and while I have the strings off. So thanks for watching. Take care. Happy modding.